Hello, this is Mousebeat, and I'm showing off my Stompa that I have been weathering. He is not complete. He's getting very close to being complete. Still a bit glossy from the gloss undercoat here. And I have gone over with paints, notably Panzer Aces, light rust, dark rust, as well as a variety of rusting weathering powders from Forge World and Secret Weapon minis. It's taken about 5 hours, roughly, to get it to this stage. Has a few more hours left. There's that's just the weathering. That's waiting for things to dry. I've got I don't know if you can see the feet. The feet are a bronze, kind of brass, so they're actually more black bronze rather. So I've been doing a lot of verdigris, and I used a lot of nilakh oxide, 50-50 with water, mixed up, built up slowly over time, and also a lot of weathering powders, which are still not quite set. So I'm trying not to disturb them too much here as I show you the model. I did a lot of chipping with spongings and gold for the brass colors and silver for the iron, and I already repaired it a couple times, and the already had the power plant, the fall back off of it, so there's that. Next step is going to be putting on the mud on the bottom skirt. It's going to be sand, and like a wet sandy mud that they're walking through the beach areas. Ocean is my kind of work theme for my guys, so they're all on sand bases or have some weathering and like loose sand on them. And then I'll be putting this together, doing some final touches. Here's the head. The weathering really makes the whole thing kind of start blending together well and makes it much more cohesive, and I just love the heavily weathered orc look. This is not quite done. It's more brass, so there's a lot more corrosion built up. I use picture references from online to try to recreate corroded bronze brass colors. There is a good bit of almost white corrosion as well, so I added some faded bone color in places, and some of this won't be seen because of the missiles that get put on top of it. This is a soot, black, just literally black soot weathering powder, black weathering powder, brushed on, and once it gets a seal, it'll be impervious, which will be nice, because if you don't seal your weathering powders and you're playing with these models, they will rub off and pretty much consistently. There's some soot on here too on this guy. This is a heavily weathered chain-axe iron, or chainsword Dakka. You got your barrel. So the weathering powders are pretty much dry now on this, and what I will be doing is going back over some of these areas where the chain would be rubbing against things, cutting into things. It would not have rust there. It's easier to do that after the rust though, because then you can just go over the areas that need the touch-up with like the silver, or the Runefang silver, or iron breaker maybe. Depends on what you've used as a base coat, of course. And a couple other the guns here. The missile goes, oops, had some stuff stuck to it. Weathered corroded the barrel pretty heavily that holds the Dakka, the bullets that is. You'll notice the missile is not weathered very much, hardly at all, because it is, in my mind, those are something that the orcs would have recently put on, since they're single-use weapons, so they're not going to have really had time to necessarily weather. I mean, you could always weather them if you wanted and say, hey, they were sitting in storage, or something to that effect. Did a lot of heavy weathering on this panel here, where I feel like the water would have collected as it kept dripped down and corroded. Not as much on the colored panels, especially under the little Kilikan style turret guy here. This is mostly corroded with nilakh oxide built up, and a little bit of the weathering powder in the heavier places, which I then will seal. Alright, so I will bring you finished pictures of the Stompa as soon as he is completely done. And thanks for checking him out.